second segment of the afternoon that will cover base year value transfers. Assessor, I want to start with you again. One of the most common questions we received in preparation for this town hall is, under Prop 19, how many times and where can I transfer my base year value? Would you be able to provide a response for the audience?
So this actually really speaks to why Proposition 19 was introduced. It for qualifying homeowners, which are those who are 55 years or older, severely disabled, or the victims of a natural disaster such as a flood, a fire, or an earthquake, you can now transfer your property. When you sell your home and buy another one, you can transfer it up to 3 times. So it essentially makes your property tax basis portable. You can transfer it to a home of any value, which is an improvement over the previous law, which only allowed you to transfer it to a home of equal or lesser value. And now you can transfer that tax base to any county in the state. The previous law only allowed you to transfer it to one of about a dozen counties statewide. So that is a large expansion of the benefits to those qualified homeowners. So again, it's you can transfer it 3 times anywhere in the state into a home of any value. As a caveat, though, I want to note that if you transfer your property to a home of greater value than your current home, there will be a property tax adjustment. It won't be the full market rate; it'll be a blended rate of the value of the home that you're transferring, plus a market value for that additional home value that exceeds your current home value. It's kind of a complex formula. We'll get into that later on.
Assessor Prang, again, this question is for you. How much time do property owners have to purchase a replacement property after the sale of their original property in order to qualify for a Prop 19 base year value transfer?
2 years.
How many was that?
2.
2 years. Great. Determine new values for these properties, right? So Rob, I did want to send a question your way. If a property owner purchases a replacement property for less than they sell their original property, will they be able to transfer their base year value?
Yes, they will be able to do so. It's very similar to how the old law worked, Prop 1690. If a qualified claimant, in most cases, it's going to be a person over the age of 55 or older, or a property owner with a disability. If they purchase a replacement property for less than they sold their original property for, they'll be able to transfer their tax base over without any type of adjustment. Assessor's website, we have a dedicated Prop 19 webpage. Specifically on that page, we have a Prop 19 base year value transfer calculator. So that should be able to assist with some of your preparations if this is a program you're looking into.
And if a property owner purchases a replacement property for more than they sell their original property, will they be able to transfer their base year value? So it's like if the situation was flipped, right?
Right. And this is something that the assessor touched on and briefly explained, but we can get a little bit more into the weeds with the calculation. So the short answer is yes. If you're a qualified claimant, again, based on age or disability, and you purchase a replacement property that is for more than you sold your original property for, you can still transfer over your tax base. However, in this particular situation, you would be able to transfer that tax base over with an upward adjustment. And the way that adjustment works is we will add the difference between the sales price of the difference between the purchase price of your replacement property and the sales price of your original property, the difference between those two values, and we will add it on top of the transferred tax base. So that is what accounts for the increase. But yes, you can still transfer your tax base over.
Regarding the base value transfer, are you able to buy first and sell the original home later?
They can.
They can.
And matter of fact, if they check our website, we have cited several examples that they can follow.
Perfect.
Kind of walk you through it.
And these examples you said are available on the BOE website?
Yes.
Great. So, but I did have another question from the audience that I would like to introduce since we are on this topic of base year values. Would anyone be able to define property tax base used in transfers in this circumstance?
To consider when we're talking about these. And essentially, we have the property tax base. We can think about our Prop 13 value, or when someone purchases a property and gets established, they have a base value that is established that typically at that point in time will not change except for like a CPI trend year after year. And typically this is what someone's trying to retain and transfer on to someone else or transfer to another property. We also talk about the taxable base value. And as we were talking about this, one of the elements of Prop 19 that is now start to introduce is that we know if we're talking about a base year transfer, that now because the property doesn't have to be equal or lesser, it can actually be greater, we know that it's possible that taxable value can be adjusted. And so in those instances where someone purchases a property and let's say it's more than the property that they sold, we'll have to adjust and get a new taxable value for them. And so that's why those distinctions become really important.
Perfect. Thank you for that response, Nicole. And I do have another question that I would like to go ahead and direct towards Rob. Rob, the question that we have is, if you have 2 years from the sale of your home, what tax bases will be used to assess the new home? And the follow-up question is, if you buy a new home first and then wait a few months later, how will the new home be reassessed?
So we will transfer over your tax base based on the latter of the two events that occur, because both have to occur for the tax base to be transferred. So I think, as Nicole was pointing out, the tax base that we transfer over is essentially what you were paying your taxes on prior to the sale of your original property. So whenever the completion of those two events occur, the sale of the original property and the purchase of the replacement, we will, and a claim is filed that requests that base year value transfer, we'll be able to do it at that time.
But Assessor Prang, I did want to pivot back to you with a question. Can a married couple transfer the base year value for their original property to a replacement property if only one of them is 55 or older?
Yes, as long as one of the qualifying property owners, as long as one meets the qualifications, it can be transferred.
To clarify, the term severely disabled in order to qualify for Prop 19?
Yes, kind of going back to the question that you just asked the assessor. Under this new rule, 462.540, the base year value transfer clarifies under Prop 19. And the assessor mentioned you have to be, one of them has to be 55 and older. Actually, under Prop 19, if the person is severely disabled or is a victim of a wildfire or natural disaster, they also can qualify, even if they're not over 55.